Hey everyone, it is Dave. Welcome in. It's time to talk about module number 7. This week, since we're done with the formal elements and principles of design, we are going to look at art chronologically. We're going to take modern art, everything from Edward Manet all the way to Jackson Pollock. It's about 100 years worth of time period, so we're going to look at Cubism and Fauvism and all sorts of really cool modern art movements in this week's lectures. We also have some sample exam questions because the midterm exam is going to be in Module 8. You will have the entire week in which you can take the exam, and the exam itself is just about 50 minutes in length. It's a very easy exam, says the person who wrote it, right? And then we also have journal number 7. So join me. We're going to head over to the Canvas site. I'll walk you through Module 7. All right, here we are on the Canvas site. We're going to take a look at Module 7 this week. Up top, we have our usual suspects, the video you're watching, our action plan, and a link to my office hours every Monday and Wednesday, 4:30 to 7. We have 2 lectures this week, and the first one is on Edward Manet and the birth of modernism. So Edward Manet is the father of modern art. He's the one who actually groups together the Impressionists, and then we start with modern art movements underneath that. That'll take us to all the way into about the 1950s. So we're just going to be covering art chronologically this week rather than really dealing with specific vocabulary like we have in the past. For the further exploration section, we'll take a look at that material. There's actually quite a bit because this is a really cool time of art. Up top, we have a reading about this painting called Music in the Tuileries. The others are all optional. Baudelaire's The Painter of Modern Life. If you want to read a page or two, that's great. Otherwise, that's optional. And the last 2 deal with this painting, and particularly the model here, Lori. The videos we have this week, Luncheon on the Grass, make sure to watch that. That's a really important artwork. Manet's Olympia, and also a little video on the Industrial Revolution. As we go back to modern art, the modern art movements, we're going to have a little video about Claude Monet actually painting. We have video of him painting, which is really cool. He did live all the way into the 1920s, so had a very full life. We have the founding and manifesto of futurism. This is also called the Futurist Manifesto for short. And this is some pretty wild reading, but it's the very first time an art movement has a manifesto explaining its art. Also important is the Mark Rothko auction down here. Make sure to watch that. And while I couldn't embed it, Christie's has modern art auctions pretty regularly, at least every 3 to 4 months. And these paintings are still going for tremendous sums of money. I just gave you a link to one. If you want to watch a minute or 2 of it, that's cool. Otherwise, it's not really important to you. But it's showing like all the Degas paintings and Kandinsky paintings that are still hitting the market. And it's just amazing how many people are still interested in modern art. After that, I'm going to jump down to the journal this week. So the journal is something brand new that I'm doing as far as this particular journal. This is going to be an on plein air project. And in the color theory lecture, we learned about on plein air. And we're also going to learn about it again in the modern art movements lecture. So basically, it's standing in front of a scenery, closing your eyes, opening your eyes, and then just capturing the color is what I'm going to have you do. So you don't have to do anything like this embedded image here. I'm not asking you to make something perfect. All I'm asking you is to capture the color that you see. I will put a student example in here as well to show you what some past students have done. The only thing we're turning in this week is going to be the sample exam questions. Now in Module 8, we have a midterm exam. The midterm exam itself is 50 questions, multiple choice, and a few true-false questions. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you the format. Each of these questions is only worth 1 point. There are 10 of them. And so this is what you're going to experience on the midterm exam. You're going to have the question up here. You're generally going to have an image with it. Your possible answers, you'll click whatever you think is the correct answer. You'll click the next button. When you're done, you'll submit the quiz. You'll also notice that up here you have a timer. In this case, the timer is counting up, but with the midterm, it'll count down because we have limited time to take the exam. And then every time you answer a question, the question here will be checkmarked. So on an exam that has 50 questions, you can scroll through, and if there was one that you decided to skip because you weren't sure or it took too much time, you can always scroll back and go, oh, I didn't answer this one, and you can jump right to it. So once you click on the correct answer, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, there'll be a check mark next to the 10 now. And that is going to be everything for this week. I did also, now that I'm thinking about it, for the sample exam questions, they're technically due Sunday. However, and that's, by the way, Sunday the 12th. However, I always keep this open during the duration of the midterm week. The reason why I do that is because you can test the device that you're planning to take the exam on. In the past, there were issues with iPads. I think those have all been resolved now. But if you want to check and see just which computer or laptop or whatever you're going to be taking the exam on works well with the sample exam questions, that's why they're open. You can take the sample exam questions as many times as you want. Canvas saves your top score. And that is it for this week. I will see you next week to tell you about the midterm exam.